Hi everyone. Yeah, thanks for joining this breakout session. From what I've heard, it might be a short one just because a lot of people are sick or are traveling. But which is also nice. Like we are a smaller group, so we can also maybe um, have more questions or like focus on some implementation details that we usually don't really spend a lot of time on. Um, from my side, I don't have like huge updates. We have been at a retreat last week, which was very nice and quite productive, I think. There was actually a lot of talks around FOCIL. It seems like, at least across teams I spoke to, like people were um, generally happy with FOSSO and the design and sort of thought like it should be included in future forks. Um, uh, Now the whole question revolves around when and how compatible it is with like some of the new stuff that's been coming up, like delayed execution, for example. So I think one part will be to focus in the very near future in like making it compatible with delayed execution, for example, or seeing exactly how we can work this out. Um, Another more longer term part is maybe how, like, if we envision a future where you can have like light, stateless fossil nodes, uh, then how do we make FOSSIL work, or like something like FOSSIL work in a stateless world is also something that um, has been brought up and I think is quite interesting to study. Um, so yeah, if you have like the meme of like smartwatches being included and producing ILs, thinking there are very, very light nodes in minutes, then you need like to actually specify how that could work out. So yeah, I think cool discussions around this um, and how fossil and includers more generally like fit in the global picture of like where we imagine the future of staking going. Um, yeah. Does anyone have any questions on this? It's very broad and large, but there will probably be write-ups and some more specific things coming. Oh, maybe another update is that we are like looking for someone to actively work on ZK fossil prototypes, uh, both on the using generic snarks, but also maybe on using specific linkable ring signature schemes to make it work and to make it a bit more implementable in protocol. So yeah, I mean that's advancing. It's obviously quite early still, but it would be very nice to see whether we make progress and also like whether the ideas we had in mind are actually efficient. Especially if you want like a very light fossil nodes in the future, like yeah, you don't. I mean you don't want to introduce too many requirements because of the cryptography involved with some with ZK fossil or other ideas. Um, yeah, so for me that was basically it. I know a lot of devs have also been really heads down trying to fix testnet bugs and work on Pectra. But I wanted to get news from you all. Especially, I think Jihoon made progress on Dora, which was exciting. If you want to talk about it.
Yeah, sure. So I've modified Prism to emit IL event upon it successfully receive an IL over the P2P network. Then I made Dora to listen to those IL events, store ILs, and display them on the Explorer. So you should be able to see them in inclusion list tab as long as there is any inclusion list. So if you want to try it out by yourself, you could use this kurtosis config. Let me share it in the chat. Philip gave it a review and gave me a nice feedback to mark whether an IL transaction is actually included in a block. It sounds like a nice feature to have, so I'm gonna update the UI. And I've also found a buggy case that a slot with non-empty ILs have a block with empty transaction. I'm using a pair of Prism and Gas, and as far as I know, reorg is not implemented in Prism yet. But with the current implementation, the block should have all IL transactions. So I will be investigating this issue. And once we have better understanding of conditions about IL compliance, I think we can leverage that knowledge to use author toward to testify cases.
Nice. Is there like a link we can just like click on and see Dora the Explorer like in terms of like the actual UI?
So you can use this kurtosis config and wait until you reach 96 slot, but it's overhead. So maybe I can share my screenshot of the new UI. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, that would be great
Yeah,
just to so we have an idea of how it looks like.
yeah. So this is the screenshot of it. So when there is an inclusion list, you should be able to see inclusion list tab, and in that tab you can see each of these inclusion lists. So it displays who submitted that inclusion list, inclusion and the content of inclusion list, basically all the transactions, signature, IL committee root, and I forgot to mention that currently the implementation doesn't assume any fork. So when there are any fork, I think we need to consider IL committee root to make sure we are displaying inclusion list of the canonical chain, but currently we just assume that there is no fork. We just assume happy case.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's really nice. Even just to be able to see the first steps in getting like a UI with like all the inclusion lists and where they come from and their content is actually super nice. So what's
So
the so plan next, I guess, is to investigate the issue and the bug you just mentioned.
Yes, yes. So there should be no case and that the block doesn't any transaction, but there is any IL transaction. And as I mentioned, I'm gonna update the UI to somehow mark which transactions are actually included. So I hope that make debugging much easier.
Yeah, great. Nico, and
just a question. So you use the event stream now, right? Or how is Dora getting the data?
Yeah, so Dora listening to the IL event. It is specified in the Beacon API spec. I can share the link to the PR.
Yeah, all good. I mean, I added it to the Beacon API. I'm just wondering, yeah, if we also need a oppool API, so you could, yeah, but I'm not sure if Dora needs that. But basically, we just emit the event. I think if the IL passes gossip validation. I'm just wondering if there are some edge cases where we would still publish the IL for some reason. I think we should, because if someone has some duplicate publishing, I think this still passes gossip validation, right? Because we emit at least the second one. So probably, yeah, it's fine via the event stream.
Yeah, so since Dora is listening to multiple clients, so there must be some duplication of say of the same IL. So Dora has its own deduplication mechanism, so we don't need to worry about it. And when there is any equivocation, Dora stores all equivocated enclosure lists so that we can see who is the equivocator and what kind of equivocation occurred.
Yeah, right. That was what I was wondering, because I think Lodestar right now would only emit the second one. And after that, if we receive a third one, we would no longer emit this, because I think there's a gossip rule that prevents us from doing that. So it doesn't pass gossip validation, I think.
Oh, I see. Do you think we need to specify it in the spec?
So right now, I think the event stream spec just says emit an event if there's an inclusion list that passes the gossip validation. So I guess this is how all the event stream events work, or most of them. So it might be fine. Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, do we need more data, or is this good enough?
I think it is good enough for now, but if we found some other use cases, then we can think about it later.
Yeah, I mean that sounds good. I think that's a good point. Maybe wait until we stumble onto some edge cases when we will need to add like a pool way of getting the inclusion list. But yeah, it sounds like even like if you do have like the duplication from many clients as inputs already, that sounds pretty good. Cool, Katja.
Yeah, hello everyone. What I've just noticed that there is a commit in the Ethereum package, which is use of EAP 7805 support image for Dora. So I wonder if this Dora is already implemented into Ethereum package. So probably we may use it under the hood or Jihoon, do you know anything about it or not? This is what I'm trying to do right now to run it, but I have issues with Prism image. Yeah, so this service stops occasionally.
Yeah, so if you just use a default Dora image, then you can still use EIP 7805 fork activation. We usually use Electra fork as the first epoch, and then Flu, and then EIP 7805. And for your Prism issue, I guess you can just set the what was called the block interval as like 12 seconds or 9 seconds. It would depend on your machine performance, but if you're struggling with 6-second configuration, then you might want to use 9 or 12 seconds.
But what about Dora image? It was already pushed into Ethereum package. Is it the same Dora image? Do you know anything about it? So
The one that displays ILs?
yeah, yes.
No, it is
No?
I opened the PR, but it's not merged yet. So if you want to use the PR, then you should use the Dora image that I specified in the kurtosis config. But if you're not, then you will just use the original one without IL display.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Nice. And yeah, I was wondering where we are in terms of testing edge cases. Like we've talked about it for a while, and maybe having like a list of I mean I remember Terence had a list of like potential tests we could check out and run, but I was wondering where that is and if we made progress on this, because it feels like the next natural step.
Yeah, I think we still, excuse me, I think we still need to enumerate all the test cases and I mean, Terrence has already done some good work on that, as you mentioned. But yeah, I think we could add more and make it more well specified. I can mention I was also at a retreat for the past week, so I didn't have a ton of time, but I was able to at least verify that a censoring builder wasn't able to land a block on chain. It wasn't. At least the Dora UI was telling me that it wasn't reorg. It was just the slot would just be missed. And I did implement this in kind of the most naive way where the censoring builder would just censor everything. So just try to propose an empty block. And if there was a non-empty inclusion list, then that slot would be missed. So yeah, that's mainly it for me.
No, that's great. Do you have where can we check that out? Or like the results of like do you actually just open a PR and like add this in and checked what it gave on Dora or like
Yeah, not even. It's kind of I have the stock red fossil image, and then I would make a local change to essentially just yeah, always construct an empty block. I can push that out to a different image or a different branch, sorry. And yeah, if people wanna use it, then they can.
nice. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think it's worth like maybe that's the way to go. I can also like give it a try, but yes, as you said, enumerate like tests in a more maybe nice way, and also like get consensus around tests that actually need to be run, and then we could actually sort of like link what people have tried, uh, like under like some of the tests we mentioned, so we can keep track of what people tried and what fails and what is resolved on different clients and different implementations. So yeah, I feel like it might be useful because I feel like a lot of people are just intuitively trying things out and like seeing whether that works or not. But um, yeah, just pooling these resources together, I guess, would be quite nice.
Right, yeah. I mean, eventually, yeah, we would like the something like the consensus spec test vectors or the eels test or something like more formal or more specified to the
Yeah,
extent.
do you think we should move to that right away instead of like trying to do it ourselves first, or like how much value is there in like actually sort of like trying to do it on our end compared to moving to the more formal way of doing things first?
Um, not yeah, not entirely sure. Need to see what would be involved in creating those test vectors. I think to the extent that we can uh do yeah, quick and dirty testing more manually, I think that is okay and it's a good start, but um yeah, once we're feel like we've picked the low-hanging fruit, so to speak, then I think it makes sense to work on actual test vectors. And I guess I should probably, yeah, look at what POTUS and Terrence and others have done for EIP or the EPBS EIPs. I feel like we could maybe yeah, take some inspiration from that and see how they were testing that, because I think that's even more complicated set of things to test, and um, hopefully hopefully yeah, that can kind of inform us as how to construct these test vectors.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could also, well, maybe not right now, but a bit later, like reach out to the what is it, Steel team, the team that actually like in charge of testing.
Right.
If they can like help us out or figure out the best way to move forward.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I can do this. Great. Any other updates from other client teams?
I have a PR open to the EIP, which just adds some information about the execution layer changes and fixes some mistakes. So I've got a review from Jihoon, but I'll just share it in the chat, and if anyone has a chance, could you please review it?
Okay, yeah, great.
Does that one also include the IL construction suggestion?
So I separated it out into two PRs. So one of them is just the sort of fixes and adding detail, and the other one is the IL building one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can also definitely look at it very soon. And so yeah, I wasn't here last week, but I guess consensus was, I mean, I think it's a good idea to separate those out and we can focus on the one you just sent on the chat. Any other things on your end, Mark, like on the implementation side, or where are you at?
So I've made some progress with updating to use the new endpoints and supporting the various changes, but it's not fully working yet.
Are there any blockers, like, or can anyone help? Is it on your end, or do you need someone to unlock some of the things for you?
No, I think everything's fine. Like I've kind of, I think hopefully with that PR I made, it's kind of ironed out some bits of the spec that weren't completely clear. But I've just been mostly focused on some other like Pectra stuff and various things, so I haven't had too much time. But hopefully soon I'll be ready.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, wasn't to rush. It was just to understand if we could do anything. But great, thanks a lot. Any other updates?
I got a quick question. I remember Prism and Lodestar were having state root mismatch issues when they tried interoperating with each other. With Lighthouse, I tried interoperating both clients, and I'm facing similar issues. Is there any progress on that front, or are Prism and Lodestar able to interop with each other?
No, we are still having that issue, and actually I'm looking into it at the moment. But since that you also having maybe not the same issue, but still there's a problem between interop with either of Prism and Lodestar. Could you share what's your issue? Maybe we can, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a state root mismatch as well. Like once we hit the 7805 fork epoch, Lighthouse and the other, either Lodestar or Prism, end up like unsubscribing from each other. Like they're not subscribed to the same topics. So I'm assuming that's a state root mismatch.
So I'm not sure if NC was able to fix it, but I think he did not fix it with Prism. But I think one issue we might have, I haven't investigated, but if we schedule two forks, one epoch after each other, then there might be some issues how we subscribe to new topics as well. We found this in the peer dust testing. So I think because we still don't have Electra Genesis, right? I mean, the easiest testing right now would be Electra, Genesis, and then just directly EIP 7805 at like epoch 1 or epoch 2 or whatever. And I think we even have like Fulu in between now, which, yeah, don't think this is good for testing.
I think there's an image somewhere that does have Electra at Genesis. I could share it. I think it was in the EPBS channel that someone shared it with POTUS because he bribed the Panda guys with beer. So I think that does exist somewhere. It hasn't been merged yet, but we could maybe try using that.
Yeah, so yeah, probably expect the bug in Lodestar as well there. I can't guarantee this works.
Okay.
So what would be the easiest way forward? You said it perhaps had something you could use, like
Yeah, they have like an Ethereum Genesis generator image that does Electra at Genesis. If we wanted to try that, I'm not sure if it'll help, but it does exist. I can share it in the FOCIL channel in a bit when I find it.
okay,
And I think
great.
the second part would be that we don't base FOCIL on top of Fulu right now. I think that would be good because the problem is if we do it like this and we merge our PeerDAS changes, which we plan to do in like the next month after Pectra goes live, then we will test FOCIL on top of PeerDAS, which I'm not sure that's wanted right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at least until like PeerDAS is like sort of more finalized or like in the later stages maybe. Okay, interesting.
Also, you save a whole epoch worth of waiting when you run kurtosis locally, which I guess is nice.
Yeah. Okay, so you think it would be better to test on top of Hulu then? What do other people think about this?
No, I think it's better to test on top of Electra.
Oh, Electra, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'd rather test on top of Electra as well.
I mean, really, the only reason this is no issue right now is because Fulu is a no op for Lodestar right now, because we haven't merged any PeerDAS changes into the main branch right now.
Okay. I mean, yeah. Does that make a big difference or like what do you think about it? Maybe Jihu and Mark, like other people that are implementing?
Well, I think that will make our testing life much easier.
Okay, nice. That sounds like a no-brainer then. Cool. So maybe, yeah, let's say we do that from now on. Maybe once you guys have done it on your respective code bases, if you can post it in the public channel so everyone sort of can follow along where you guys are at and see if that actually resolves some of the issues we're having or if that comes from somewhere else. Great. Any other issues or updates or questions? Yeah, Katja?
Yeah, I built a draft dashboard, but couldn't check it yet because I couldn't run the kurtosis. But right now it seems it's running, so I will probably try with my local image and we'll share later. The dashboard is for the CL right now. Just initial set of metrics, but probably could be interesting to look at some benchmarks. We'll share it in the chat in Discord later.
I remember that's awesome. Yeah, you had a list of like metrics, right? You submitted to everyone and wanted to get feedback on.
Yeah, I will open a draft PR for the list of the metrics. Currently, I just went through the Prism code and tried to build some metrics based on this code. but I think it needs a review, of course, because probably we need to. Some of them maybe not interesting, and some of them maybe I should add later. Yeah, I will share it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, even maybe this is just thinking out loud, but like sometimes it's even easier or better to get the list of metrics, but also like if you actually see the dashboard with the metrics displayed, sometimes it's like very obvious whether that should be part of the metrics we care about or not. So yeah, I mean, as soon as you have something to share, very happy to take a look. That's going to be really useful, and maybe we can also find bugs using just like dashboard and visualizations around like how ILs are propagated, which is nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. Okay, so sounds good. I'll try to at least make a bit of progress on where we are at testing wise. Maybe also contact like the people in charge. And then building on top of Electra, starting from now. And yeah, I mean, if the state root issues or like if interrupt still is like difficult between CL clients, like don't hesitate to like really sort of like share it and post it in the public channel, so that I mean it does feel like it's a problem that people need to solve all together. So probably a good use case for really trying to collaborate on that issue and find where it's at. And yeah, also if like it does help to use some of the if Panda ops I don't know, is it a package like our solutions, I guess. We could try that, but yeah, let me know, and happy to help either way. Is there anything else? All right. If not, we can probably end this one early. And yeah, see you. Thanks all for coming. I'll try to prepare the next meeting a bit more, and hopefully we have a bit more updates too. But it's super nice that to see everyone making progress and things moving forward. And I mean, yeah, it's also very nice for me to see even this little Dora the Explorer screenshot with all the inclusion lists and what it might look like in the future. I think that's very exciting. So yeah, thanks everyone, and see you guys soon.